My aunt claimed she deserved my late mother's jewelry for sentimental reasons. When I refused, she accused me of stealing and humiliated me at the family reunion. She sneered and said, "You're just a greedy brat." My cousins joined in. I quietly replied, "I have the will right here, care to read it?" I never expected my family to turn on me over my late mom's jewelry, but I should have seen it coming. My mom passed away last year. It was sudden. One day, she was making plans for a trip to Italy, and the next, I was planning her funeral. The grief was unbearable. I was her only child, and we were extremely close. Losing her felt like losing my anchor. Among the things she left behind was her jewelry box. It wasn't massive, but every piece inside had meaning. Some were family heirlooms passed down through generations. Others were gifts from my dad before he passed. A few she had bought for herself as little victories, one for getting a promotion, one for finally paying off her student loans. She loved every piece. Growing up, she always told me, "One day, these will be yours." I never thought one day would come so soon. After she passed, I kept them safe in my apartment. I didn't wear most of them. It was too painful. But sometimes I'd open the box, run my fingers over the necklaces and rings, and remember her. Then my Aunt Maria decided she deserved them more than I did. My uncle, Mom's brother, invited the family to a big summer reunion at his place in Connecticut. I wasn't in the mood to be around people, but I figured it might be good for me. See some family, eat some good food, maybe feel a little normal again. I should have stayed home. The moment I arrived, Maria made a beeline for me. She was all fake smiles and exaggerated hugs. She barely spoke to me at the funeral, but now she was acting like we were best friends. I should have known something was up. It didn't take long for her to bring it up. "I was thinking," she said, swirling a glass of wine. "Mom's jewelry should be shared with the family. It's what she would have wanted." I froze. "That's not what she wanted," I said. Maria laughed like I had made a joke. "Oh, honey, I know you're young and sentimental, but you don't need all of it." I was 27. Hardly a child. She kept going. "You're just keeping them in a box, aren't you? Wouldn't it be better if they went to the people who would actually wear and appreciate them?" I took a deep breath. I knew how Maria worked. If I lost my temper, she'd act like I was the unreasonable one. "Mom left them to me," I said firmly. Maria's expression darkened, but she forced a smile. "Well, maybe she didn't realize how much they meant to me too." I said nothing. Then she got louder. "She's hoarding them," she announced to the gathering relatives. "That's not what family does." Heads turned. Conversation stopped. I was stunned. I hadn't expected her to make a scene. Then she sneered, "You're just a greedy brat." A few of my cousins nodded. One of them, Laura, crossed her arms and said, "Yeah, it's kind of selfish." Josh, another cousin, chimed in, "I mean, they should be shared, right? That would be fair." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. They were ganging up on me over my own mother's things. Then Maria took it a step further. "You know, I wouldn't be surprised if she stole some things before we even had a chance to see what was left." That one hit me like a punch to the stomach. I had just lost my mom, and now I was being accused of stealing from her. The room was dead silent. Everyone was watching me. Some looked uncomfortable, but no one was standing up for me. I felt my hands shake, but I kept my voice steady. I reached into my purse. "I actually have something here that clears up any confusion," I said. Maria smirked, thinking I was about to hand something over to her. Instead, I pulled out a neatly folded document. "This," I said, holding it up, "is Mom's will." Silence. Maria's smirk faltered. "Would you like to read it?" I asked, my voice calm but cold. "Because I have copies for anyone who's interested." I started handing them out. Laura took one. Josh grabbed another. My uncle adjusted his glasses and skimmed through. The wording was clear. My mother's jewelry was left exclusively to me. Not to be split. Not to be shared. Not to be touched by anyone else. Maria's face drained of color. I turned to her and said, "I think we're done here." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. The damage was done. And this was far from over. Maria's face was frozen in shock, but only for a second. Then, her eyes narrowed, and she turned red. She snatched a copy of the will out of my cousin Josh's hands and skimmed it like she was expecting to find some kind of loophole. Her lips pressed together, and I could see the gears turning in her head. This can't be right," she muttered. "It's legal," I said, keeping my voice steady. Maria let out a bitter laugh. "Well, maybe she didn't know what she was doing when she wrote this. Maybe she was confused." I clenched my jaw. Confused? My mom was many things, but confused wasn't one of them. "She wasn't confused, Maria," I said firmly. She knew exactly what she wanted. But Maria wasn't backing down. She turned to the rest of the family and raised her voice. Do you all see what she's doing? She said, shaking the paper. She's using some legal technicality to keep everything for herself. This isn't about what's fair. It's about her taking advantage of Mom when she was sick. The air in the room shifted. I felt it immediately. A few of my cousins exchanged glances. Some looked unsure, some looked away. But others nodded. I could feel the doubt creeping in. That's when Laura stepped forward. She has a point, Laura said slowly. Aunt Anna was going through a lot before she passed. Maybe she wasn't thinking straight. Maybe she just assumed Maria would get some of the jewelry too. I felt my pulse pounding in my ears. She didn't assume anything, I snapped. She wrote it down. She made it legal. What part of that isn't clear to you? Josh sighed and rubbed his temples. Look, I'm not trying to take sides, but if we're talking about family history, shouldn't we all get a little something? I wanted to scream. Did any of you visit her when she was sick? I asked, my voice sharp. Did any of you call her? Help her? Because I was the one taking care of her. I was the one holding her hand in the hospital. Where were you? That shut them up for a second. But then Maria, of course, had to keep going. You know what? She said, throwing her hands in the air. Fine. Keep the jewelry. If you want to be that kind of person, go ahead. But I hope you realize what you're doing. I hope you understand how selfish you look right now. I exhaled slowly. I'm not selfish, I said. I'm respecting my mom's wishes. Then I turned on my heel and walked out of the room. But as I left, I caught something out of the corner of my eye. Maria wasn't done. She was whispering something to Laura. And Laura nodded. I didn't know what they were planning. But I knew it wasn't over. A week later, I came home from work to find my apartment door slightly open. My stomach dropped. I lived alone. I was always careful about locking up. Slowly, I stepped inside. And my heart stopped. My apartment had been ransacked. Drawers pulled out. Papers scattered. Cushions thrown on the floor. And worst of all, the small wooden jewelry box that held my mother's things was gone. My hands shook as I dialed 911. But even as I explained the break-in, something in my gut told me exactly who was behind it. I was shaking as I spoke to the 911 dispatcher. My jewelry box, my mother's jewelry, was gone. My apartment looked like a tornado had hit it. The thought of someone inside my home, touching my things, made my stomach turn. The dispatcher kept me on the line until the cops arrived. 2 officers stepped inside, one taking notes, the other scanning the room. I tried to keep it together, but my voice cracked when I said, they took my mom's jewelry. Any idea who might have done this? One officer asked. I hesitated. I couldn't prove anything. But deep down, I knew. I forced myself to sound calm. Maybe. My aunt, she's been angry that my mom left her jewelry to me. She made a scene at a family gathering about it. The officers exchanged looks. We'll check for prints, one said. Any security cameras in the building? I almost laughed. I lived in an old apartment complex in New York City. The kind where the landlord says there's security, but never actually fixes the cameras. No, I admitted. They nodded and went to work, dusting for fingerprints and taking photos. Then one of them frowned. You said they took a box, right? Yeah, I said quickly. He pointed to my coffee table. So why is there a pearl necklace here? I blinked. Sure enough, right there in plain sight, was one of my mom's necklaces. It didn't make sense. If someone broke in and stole the jewelry, why would they leave something behind? Something was off. The cops left after collecting evidence, but I knew how these things went. A break-in in New York? Unless they had solid leads, it would go unsolved. But I wasn't going to let it go. I sat on my couch, staring at the pearl necklace. It felt wrong. Why would a thief leave something this valuable behind? Then my phone buzzed. It was Laura. I let it ring. Then it buzzed again. I sighed and answered. What do you want? I asked. There was silence on the other end. Then, in a weirdly casual voice, she said, Hey. So, have you looked everywhere for the jewelry? Like, maybe you misplaced it? I went cold. What? Well, I mean, you know how sometimes people think they lost something, but really they just put it somewhere weird? I sat up straight. Laura, I said slowly. Do you know something? She laughed. A nervous laugh. I'm just saying. Maybe you shouldn't jump to conclusions. I gripped the phone tighter. What the hell did you do? Silence. Then she muttered, Look, just don't call the cops, okay? I drove to Laura's house that night. I shouldn't have. I should have let the cops handle it. But I was furious. I knocked hard. When she opened the door, her face dropped. You broke into my apartment, I said. Her eyes darted around. What? No. That's crazy. I pushed past her. Where is it? Laura held up her hands. You're acting nuts. You can't just. Then I saw it. On her dining table. My mother's wooden jewelry box. Wide open. My hands clenched into fists. You stole it. Laura swallowed hard. It's not what you think. Then explain. She sighed and rubbed her temples. It wasn't just me. I froze. I didn't break in. Maria did. The air left my lungs. But, Laura rushed on. She made me hold on to it. She told me it was just until things calmed down. She said you were being selfish, and honestly, I kind of believed her. I shook my head, disgusted. Then why are you calling me now? Why are you nervous? Laura looked away. Because, she's acting weird about it now. She's saying she should keep it. That it belongs to her. She's talking about selling some of it. I clenched my jaw. Of course Maria didn't just want it for sentimental reasons. She wanted the money. And Laura, stupid Laura, had realized too late that she had been played. I picked up the box. This is mine, I said. And you're lucky I don't call the cops on you. Laura looked miserable. I didn't think it would go this far. I turned to leave. But before I stepped out the door, she said, Maria's not going to let this go. I didn't turn around. I hope she tries something, I said. Because I'm ready for her. Laura was right. Maria wasn't going to let this go. 2 days after I took back my mother's jewelry box, Maria called me. Not to apologize. Not to explain. To threaten me. You're making a mistake, she hissed. I held the phone tighter. The only mistake I made was trusting my own family. You think you can just walk away with everything? She snapped. You think I'll just let you? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Are you seriously threatening me? Maria lowered her voice. You have no idea what you're getting into. The line went dead. And that's when I knew she had something planned. The next morning, I got a text from my uncle. We need to talk. The whole family. I rolled my eyes. Of course. Maria was pulling everyone into this. Again. I almost didn't go. But something inside me, maybe pure, cold rage, made me drive to my uncle's house anyway. When I walked in, they were all there. Maria, Laura, Josh, my uncle, a few other relatives. Some looked uncomfortable. Some looked ready. Maria stood in the center of the room, arms crossed, chin high. I just want to clear the air, she said sweetly. I sat down slowly. No, you don't. She ignored me. There's been a lot of tension in this family. And I think it's time we talked about it. Like adults. I glanced around. My uncle looked uneasy. My cousins looked unsure. Maria smiled, but her eyes were sharp. And more importantly, I think we need to discuss whether or not Anna's will was fair. My fingers curled into fists. You don't discuss someone's will, I said through clenched teeth. It's final. It's legal. It's done. Maria turned to my uncle. But don't you think it's strange, she said. That Anna left everything to one person? That she didn't even consider the rest of us? My uncle sighed, rubbing his temples. Maria, no, really, she pushed. Think about it. Anna wasn't in the best state of mind toward the end. We all know that. What if she was manipulated? Silence. And then, Laura, freaking Laura, muttered, it is kind of weird. I turned to her so fast she flinched. We literally found my mom's will in her lawyer's office. She had it notarized. She signed it herself. What exactly do you think happened? Maria leaned forward, voice lowering. I think you convinced her. I think you pressured her. I felt my stomach twist. You're disgusting, I whispered. Maria shrugged. I'm just saying, if we really looked into it, maybe enough. My uncle's voice cut through the room like a knife. Maria flinched. He was standing now, arms crossed, looking at her like she was the embarrassment of the family. This is ridiculous, he said. Anna left her jewelry to her daughter. End of story. Maria started to argue, but he cut her off. And let's not forget that you broke into her apartment. Maria's face turned red. My uncle turned to me. Did you tell the police? Maria's head snapped toward me. I lifted my chin. Not yet. The fear in her eyes was delicious. Josh looked horrified. Wait. Maria broke into your place. Laura spoke up quickly. I told her not to. Maria glared at her. You little, enough, my uncle boomed. This conversation is over. Maria clenched her jaw, chest rising and falling. Then, she did something pathetic. She burst into fake tears. You're all against me, she sobbed. I just wanted something to remember her by. My uncle sighed. You wanted money, Maria. Just admit it. And just like that, she stopped crying. Her face hardened. She grabbed her purse and stormed toward the door. But before she left, she turned to me one last time. This isn't over, she hissed. I smiled. Yes, it is. And then she was gone. For the next few weeks, I waited for Maria to try something. But she didn't. She had burned every bridge. My uncle wanted nothing to do with her. My cousins, even Laura, kept their distance. Maria had played herself. As for me, I put my mother's jewelry box in a safe deposit box at the bank. I wasn't taking any chances. And the next time I saw Maria, she wouldn't even look me in the eye. Losing my mom was the hardest thing I've ever gone through. And for a while, I thought family would be my comfort. Instead, it showed me who my real family was. Some people think blood means loyalty. But real loyalty? It's earned. And Maria? She lost that a long time ago.